The flu season is rapidly affecting Oklahoma. Freezing temperatures have finally arrived, and Adidas could be heading to space. This is OU Nightly. Hello, thanks for joining us for OU Nightly. I'm Tavis Hillis.
And I'm Mariah Condiff. We begin tonight with the health alert. The flu is moving through Oklahoma. The annual flu index was released this morning. It ranks the top states with the largest increases in Oklahoma, is ranked in the top 10. So far this flu season, 1 Oklahoman has died from the flu and 68 others have been so sick they had to be hospitalized. Pharmacists say the rise in cases could be due to people waiting to get a flu shot.
You know, the biggest thing I would say is that to get vaccinated, because there are a lot of people that avoid getting it because either they don't like shots or they don't think it works, or maybe they got one in the past and they still got sick. My advice would be still get one because, you know, it does help and it can keep you healthy.
Doctors say the flu usually spikes around the holidays and just after, so you'll want to get the vaccine now to be protected by Thanksgiving. Protection from the shot lasts about 6 months.
The flu also spikes just as the temperatures start to drop.
And we have that combo for sure. Taylor Stephenson joins us with the first look at the forecast.
Tevis and Mariah, we had temperature drops about 20 degrees across the state from yesterday, and that is because a strong cold front came through last night and dropped our temperatures and brought some rain with it. We have a 27-degree temperature drop here in Norman and 31-degree difference from yesterday in Lawton. Jack Maney is live outside braving that cold. Jack, how is it feeling out there right now?
Taylor, we are definitely feeling that 30-degree temperature drop from yesterday right now, especially on my hands and my face. Definitely that wind is really chilling us to the bone. It kind of just goes straight through your jacket out here. Right now, though, we're looking at cloud cover. The sun actually just peeked its head out from behind the clouds about just maybe a couple of minutes ago. The clouds, they're definitely on their way out, retreating to the south as the rain has definitely ended. We are completely done with precipitation for this event. Rain that fell overnight, we looked at about a ½ inch here in Norman, maybe about up to 2 to 2.5 inches in eastern Oklahoma fell overnight, but the rain, it continued until about noon today. The rain ended from north to south, and it's done. It's out of here. We don't have to worry about it anymore. And so in place of it, we're left with just cold and windy conditions. So for our headlines, we're looking at the return of winter for today. We'll tell you how long that lasts. We've got a warm up for the weekend on the way, and then another cold front possible by next week. We'll have a whole lot more information coming up in just a few minutes. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Jack. OU students are calling for community members to walk out as part of a climate strike today. Despite the freezing rain, the Environmental Justice Coalition marched in the South Oval to Evans Hall this morning. They protested OU's failure to offer sufficient sustainable transportation and dining options, as well as its significant monetary ties to oil and gas corporations. After sitting in Evans Hall for a few hours, 5 executive vice presidents agreed to meet with them on November 11th.
Jackson joins us in the News Center with the latest on President Donald Trump in Capitol Hill.
A judge ordered President Donald Trump to pay $2 million to a collection of nonprofit organizations in part of a settlement with New York State Attorney General's office. This comes after a lawsuit was filed back in June of 2018 accusing the president and his 3 eldest children with violating federal and state campaign laws and abusing the Donald J. Trump Foundation's tax-exempt status. And testimony continues in the impeachment investigation today, and a key player skipped his scheduled deposition. President Trump's former national security advisor, John Bolton, was a no-show today. He was scheduled to appear, but was not subpoenaed. Other testimony behind closed doors include Jennifer Williams from the vice president's office. Trump's acting chief of staff, Mick Mulvaney, was requested to appear in front of the committee, but was not to participate. Public hearings begin next week and will be televised. And Kentucky Republican incumbent Governor Matt Devin told supporters he will not concede. Democrat Andy Beshear is the declared victor with 5,000 vote margin. According to the Kentucky law, there are no provisions for an automatic recount. And if the candidate wants, he or she must file a petition within 10 days of the election for a recanvass. If he decides to do that, Devin will have until November 12th. Representative Stephen Lynch of Massachusetts and a leading member of the House Oversight Committee used the word bribery in replacement of a popular term, quid pro quo, and he says it's more accurate. And back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Jackson. An Oklahoma senator says he will no longer try to rename a portion of Route 66 after the 45th president. Republican Nathan Dahm was attempting to rename 4 miles of the highway to northeastern Oklahoma after President Trump. But yesterday he told the Tulsa World that he is open to working with anyone to find a satisfactory solution. Lieutenant Governor Matt Pinnell rejected the idea of renaming it after Trump or any other political figure. The Oklahoma Route 66 Association says they do not want to dilute the American experience in the highway it represents.
And members of the Claremore community are celebrating the pardon of a popular coffee shop owner. Governor Kevin Stitt made a trip to She Brews Coffee Shop to sign Rhonda Bear's pardon. 20 years ago, Bear was released from prison, and she said her life changed completely. Since her release, Bear has been an advocate for criminal justice reform and works to help convicted women re-enter their communities and the workforce. Governor Stitt said there is more hope for people in prison than there has been ever in history.
Now, Mariah, do you know what is out of this world?
I do not. We'll let you know what Adidas has up. Plus, a local company right on campus has an item for you to stay warm this fall season when we return on OU Nightly.
With the cooler weather upon us, one local organization is working hard to sell their new merchandise. Crimson Comfort Co. is a small business led by students out of the Price College of Business. They're working on selling black fuzzy fleece jackets to benefit their local organization.
And so all of the profits that we get from selling these fleeces, every single dollar, every cent of our profits will go to Soonerthon at the end of the semester. So we actually work with them to help sell the fleeces and raise money so that we can increase their fundraising ability.
And if you are interested in helping their cause Soonerthon, you can visit crimsoncomfortco.com to purchase your own.
Yes, and there have been some breakthroughs on the tariff war between the U.S. and China. Robert McGee is here to tell us more about it in this week's Money Matters. Robert?
There has been a possible breakthrough in the U.S.-China trade war. Negotiators are working out final details of what's being called the Phase 1 deal. China wants the U.S. to eliminate the 15% tariff on imports. In return, the U.S. asks China for more intellectual property safeguards. President Trump will apparently abandon plans to impose import levies on popular consumer items such as smartphones and laptop computers. Adidas wants to test its footwear in space. The apparel company signed a partnership with the International Space Station. The first phase will focus on shoe performance in microgravity. The company plans to study the range of motion in the human body and how muscle development is affected in zero gravity. Tests begin early next year. And Kroger's is keeping up with times by modernizing their brand. The 136-year-old grocery company chain debuted a new logo and slogan on Wednesday. The company will be ditching the blue circle, changing its font, and now features the new slogan, Fresh for Everyone. Their old slogan was Right Store, Right Price. The rebranding comes from the company struggling against competitors. Other changes have been made in an effort to modernize, including lower prices, new digital shopping, and launching direct home delivery services. And Starbucks has your caffeine needs covered during the holidays by rolling out their signature red and green cups. The holiday cups and special drinks start today. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Robert. A group of OU students were hard at work last night, raising money for the Children's Hospital Foundation and OKC. Just south of the campus at the Forum, students gathered to celebrate Soonerthon's biggest fundraising push of the year. They hosted a rave night for the Miracle Children, completed with a DJ. Their fundraising goal of $165,000 was met, making it their most successful push day ever.
A lot of that money goes towards building new infrastructure. So recently they just completed a new pediatric intensive care unit at the Children's Hospital in Oklahoma City. And so that money continues to do wonderful things and it compounds. And so as Soonerthon continues to be successful, we'll only continue to feel the effects of what we're doing here.
Their next fundraising opportunity will come in late January/early February.
The possible return in the NCAA video game change has social media buzzing right about now.
Yes, coming up, what OU football players have to say.
Right, Lee, looking at this 4 box, we do have some overcast skies. Norman's looking a little more gloomy than everywhere else, but we do have those high clouds around, and that's because of that cold front that moved through. But taking a closer look at the skyline cam for Oklahoma City, we have those high clouds in the sky, but we are sitting in the 30s. 37 degrees here in Oklahoma City. Those dew points are sitting at 25 degrees and those winds are sitting at 16, and that's going to be our story for today as those winds are blustering out of the north. We had a 24 temperature hour change with that 27 degrees difference in Norman and then 32 degree difference in Lawton, and that is because that cold front was really strong and brought a lot of high winds in our area. 43 mile per hour winds, in Lawton, and that's bringing those temperatures down for tonight as well. We have those temperatures reaching 28 degrees here in Norman and 28 in Oklahoma City, and our average is around 44 degrees, so it's definitely a cooler night. If you're going out, please bundle up. It's just going to be a lot colder, but waking up and walking out the door tomorrow, we're going to be right at freezing. 32 degrees at 8 a.m. We're going to warm up, though, to 50 degrees as that sun does peak out around 5 p.m., and those winds are going to die down to about 5 to 10 miles per hour throughout the day. But on Saturday, we do have that game, 7 p.m. on Saturday, but then we are in the upper 50s for game time, so we are warming up slightly. But for Friday and Saturday, we're looking at warmer temperatures in the 50s. We do have some cool weather for our lows, but we're going into the 60s on Saturday with some warming temperatures and that sunny weather. And then as we get into Sunday, we're seeing that 66 degree temperatures. But then on Monday, we're having a huge cold front come through. We're going to drop back into the 40s with lows in the teens. And that's going to make our temperatures and our rain come back into that forecast. And we can even see some ice on the roads as we go into the early parts of next week.
Oh, I can't do driving in ice.
No, I can't either.
I can't do walking to class in ice.
Me neither.
My toes are still a little cold, you know?
Yes,
you thought
yes.
you'd warm up, but you just don't.
At all.
Thanks, Taylor. Now, EA Sports hasn't released a new college football game since 2013. OU's Zach Verdia looked into the hype surrounding its possible return.
After the NCAA announced they will begin the process to enhance image and likeness opportunities for players, social media buzzed about one thing in particular: a possibility of the return of the NCAA football game.
Hearing that it could come back makes me want to go buy a system and go buy the game again.
Buzz not just from fans, but players too.
Yeah, I'd be very interested. I mean, I hope I'm in it. I've always played the game growing up, and I think it's real cool that they're thinking about bringing it back and, you know, the rule that they got. And but I'll play it.
The game has been able to live on for the last 6 years through custom rosters and Facebook pages. It's not a game that people have forgotten about.
I actually used to play the game NCAA and to see the little Red River. I'm like, what is a Red River rivalry? And it always popped up when OU Texas played each other, so I kind of knew something about it, but I didn't know the historic facts about it.
As a young kid, I always asked my mom to give me each year the newer version of it so I can go home and play it. When they did take it away, I was upset.
Now, EA Sports has not yet released a statement on the future of the NCAA franchise. And with the cold weather, it looks like many will be staying in for the night.
Zach, are there any good games that we should be tuning into tonight?
Yeah, there's a good Thursday night football on tonight between the Chargers and the Raiders. And the Oklahoma City Thunder will suit up in San Antonio tonight to play on the Spurs. We'll preview that game coming up next on Sports. Welcome back to OU Nightly. I'm Zach Verdilla, and it's time for sports. The kicking game got off on the wrong foot early in the year, but Gabe Burkich has provided consistency at the position over the last 5 games. He has a perfect 10 for 10 on the season with a long of 50 yards 2 weeks ago in Manhattan. The hot start has landed him on the list as a semifinalist for the Lou Groza Award. Out of 20 kickers nominated, Burkich is the only freshman on the list. Head coach Lincoln Riley had high praise for the field goal specialist.
We do some things in practice to simulate, pressure kicks or, an overtime period or whatever it is, and all the ones like that, not that we've had, he seems to always make them. He does. He just, he might go out and hit, 7 to 10 or 8 to 10 in a normal field goal period, but all of a sudden you give him kind of a pressure, more real life kick in that scenario. He'd always done really well.
And the Oklahoma City Thunder are back in action tonight as they hit the road and head to San Antonio. After a lackluster 1-4 start to the season, OKC has rattled off back-to-back wins at the peak. The Thunder will look to point guard Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to continue his hot streak as he's put up 22.1 points a game so far this season. Tip-off is tonight at 7:30. College basketball is officially in full swing tonight as the second day of the season concluded yesterday. 5-star recruit Cole Anthony took the floor for the first time in the Carolina Blue against North Carolina last night and did not disappoint. Anthony dropped a cool 34 points, grabbed 11 rebounds, and tagged on 5 assists to cap off the 76-65 win. And Phillip Rivers will lead the Chargers into Oakland tonight and to face John Gruden and the Raiders. LA is riding a 2-game win streak after they upset the Green Bay Packers last week. But the Chargers D will have to contain Tulsa's own Josh Jacobs during his stellar rookie year. And somebody who knows a thing or two about Heisman trophies, Kyler Murray weighed in on the 2019 Heisman race. Look away, Sooner fans, the former OU QB thinks that LSU's quarterback Joe Burrow is the front runner after Jalen Hurts' stock took a hit after the Kansas State loss. And last week, Baker Mayfield's facial hair got more attention than his play. He landed in Denver to take on the Broncos with a full beard. He then was equipped with the signature handlebar mustache during the game. He surprised people a little bit when he showed up to the post-game press conference with a lonely mustache. Today, Mayfield explained the facial hair changeup.
No, the quarterback said a Movember mustache, and the original thought for me to do the handlebars, I was undefeated before Sunday with the handlebar mustache, so I shaved it off because I didn't deserve it.
And like Baker just said, we saw him with the handlebar mustache a few times here, always against Oklahoma State, and he always won. And he just didn't seem like it was helping the Browns enough like it did the Sooners.
Right. I just like the self-discipline he has there.
Right.
Good guy.
At least he knew that it wasn't working, and he had to switch something up.
Yeah.
Change it up.
The Browns
Baker's
need
always
it.
hard on himself. All right. Thanks, Zach. There's a chill in the air tonight.
Now, and the holidays will be right here before we know it. How our nation's capital is preparing. Straight ahead on OU Nightly.
Welcome back. I'm Haley Wager at the OU Nightly Update Desk. The closed-door deposition transcript of a Deputy Assistant Secretary of State has been released. George Kent says he was advised to lie low after raising complaints about President Trump's personal attorney. This testimony adds another voice to the impeachment inquiry. That's it for now. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Haley. Ready or not, Christmas is right around the corner, and a 60-foot blue spruce is on the way to the White House. This holiday tree is making the journey all the way from Carson National Forest in New Mexico.
Hundreds of people gathered to watch crews cut it down. The tree will cover 1,800 miles to make it to the west lawn of the U.S. Capitol. The D.C. staple will make stops at nearly 30 communities along the way.
Now, what's that weather looking like today, Taylor?
Well, right now we're really cold, but we actually have some good allergy indexes for today. We're sitting very low with those trees coming out, and we're just past that peak for trees. And if we're looking at that fall foliage graphic, look at that. We're looking at that near peak for fall colors. So if you're gonna go out and take those wedding pictures, it's wedding season, so you're gonna take out those wedding pictures, those trees are just about to change. We're right there in that area for those trees to start falling. So I know y'all see some leaves on campus, but again, those are just going to start falling very soon. But looking at the rest of our week, going into Monday, we're going to have that cold front come through. We could see some ice on the ground because those temperatures are reaching the teens. Our low for Monday is 19 degrees.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not ready for that.
Not at all.
No, that can't be true. That's
Thanks,
crazy.
Taylor. Thank you for watching OU Nightly, brought to you by the Gaylord College of Journalism and Mass Communication on the campus of the University of Oklahoma.
We'll see you right back here tomorrow, live at 4:30.
Have a great evening.
Good night.